So guys, in February, I received 8 different payments, many of which came from some of my favorite dividend-paying stocks like Proctor and Gamble, Williams-Sonoma, and SBUX. And in this video, we're going to go through each of those payments and add them all up to reveal my dividend income for the month, as well as my total income received so far in 2025. But before we get to those, I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment below and let me know what were some of your highest dividend payments this month and which stocks did they come from. I'd be curious to hear if we have any of the same ones. Anyway guys, the first payment that I received this month came from none other than Lowe's, one of my favorite dividend kings and also one of my favorite dividend growth stocks. In February, Lowe's paid me $18.85, which was a great way to kick off the month. As far as the share price goes though, Lowe's has definitely taken a hit. Over here we can see that just in the last 30 days, the stock is down 9.3%, so a very big drop for Lowe's in a very short amount of time. And if we zoom out looking at the performance over the last year, this is going to leave Lowe's just barely in the green, still up about 2.75%. And if we jump over here taking a look at my Lowe's position here, we can see I have about 16.4 shares at an average cost that I think is still looking really good, $194.50, and with the current share price just below $240 per share, this is going to leave me up about 23% in terms of share price. And on a total return basis, those dividends give me a little boost, including dividends, which I've received about $180 in dividends in total from Lowe's. This is going to bring my total return to about 28, almost 29%. But anyway, guys, getting back to it, moving on to the second dividend payment I received in February. This one was from Main Street Capital Corporation, who paid me $14.07, bringing the total so far for the month to $32.92. And looking at my Main Street position, it is sitting pretty. I have about 56.25 shares of this company at an average cost of $40.66, and I just can't believe how high this stock's share price is getting. Right now, it's at $62.22, which is going to leave me up 53% just in terms of share price. And on a total return basis, including dividends, it just gets even better, guys. In total, I've received almost $540 in dividends from Main Street since I've owned the position, which is going to bring my total return to about 78%. Not too shabby. But anyway, moving on to the third dividend payment I received, which came from the other monthly paying stock in my portfolio. This is Realty Income, who in February paid me $28.02. This is actually the highest dividend payment I've ever received from Realty Income, which is nice. And this is going to bring my total dividend income so far for the month to $60.94. And just taking a quick look at my Realty Income position here, we can see I have about 106 shares and an average cost of $54.53. So I'm officially back in the green with Realty Income. The current share price is about $57 per share, so I'm up about 4.4%. But those dividends definitely give me a nice boost. Here we can see that in total, since I've owned this position, I've brought in almost $700 in dividends, which is crazy. This is going to bring my total return to about 16% with Realty Income. But anyway, guys, now jumping over to the fourth dividend payment I received in February. This one came from EPD, who paid the highest dividend of the month for me. This was $60.37, bringing the total so far to $121.31. And EPD has done pretty well for me, guys. I have about 113 shares of this company at an average cost of $23.86, and kind of like with Main Street Capital Corporation, I just can't believe how high this stock share price is getting, $33.58 at the time of recording, which is going to put me up almost 41% just looking at the share price. And EPD, also being one of the higher yielding stocks in my portfolio, is going to be paying me some pretty hefty dividends. And in total, since I've owned this position, I brought in $677 in dividends, which is going to give my total return about a 25% boost in addition to the share price return. So this is going to leave my total return at 65.77%. I can't complain about that. And then with that, guys, this is going to bring us to dividend payment number 5, which came from AbbVie, who paid me $16.49 in February, bringing the total so far for the month to $137.80. And as far as the share price goes, AbbVie has actually had a very killer month, guys. If we take a look at the share price performance, just in the last 30 days, AbbVie is up almost 18%. That is just unreal. And this crazy gain came after they reported their quarterly earnings at the end of January, which was pretty promising. If we zoom out over the last year, AbbVie is up about 14.1%. So all of their gains and then some in the last year have come just in the last 30 days. And I've said this before when it comes to AbbVie, but I'll say it again. My only regret with this company is that I do not own more shares of it. You know, AbbVie is actually one of the smallest positions in my portfolio. It's my second smallest, just right there above Blue Owl Capital Corporation. But nonetheless, I only have 10 shares of AbbVie at an average cost of $114.20. And right now, the current share price is up above $200 per share, which is going to leave me up almost 78% just looking at the share price. And as far as the dividends go and the total return, so far I've received just over a couple $100 in dividends from AbbVie. Not too bad, especially considering this is one of the smallest positions in my portfolio, and that's going to push my total return up quite a bit. I'm up about 95% including dividends. But anyway, my friends, now moving on to payment number 6. This came from another one of my favorite dividend kings and a certain stalwart in my portfolio. We're talking about Proctor and Gamble, who paid me $28.23 for the month, bringing the total so far to $166.03. And as far as position sizing, Proctor and Gamble is kind of a middle of the road position for me. I guess, it's one of my top 10, but not one of my largest, not one of my smallest. Either way, I have just over 28 shares at an average cost of $139.20. With the current share price at about $170 per share, this is going to leave me up 22.2% just looking at the share price. And I'm getting a few extra percentage points just from the dividends there. And in total, it looks like I've received just over $300 in dividends from Procter & Gamble since I've owned it, which is going to bring my total return to exactly 28%. Anyway, guys, jumping over to payment number 7, this one came from Williams-Sonoma, who paid me $20.52 for the month, which brings our total so far in February to $186.55. And up until today, actually, as I'm recording this, Williams-Sonoma has actually been performing pretty decently. But as we can see, today has just been a terrible day for Williams-Sonoma. And I don't know exactly why, but the stock is down 6.3%. From what I can tell so far, there's no news to warrant this drop. It just kind of happened. And in the last month, this is going to leave the share price losses at about the same 6.9%. But if we zoom out over the last year, things are still looking fine for this company. The stock is still up 72.4%. And as far as my position goes, I have 36 shares of Williams-Sonoma at an average cost that is still very sweet, $66.54, which is going to leave me up about 193%. Prior to today, guys, my total returns, well, we'll get to the total returns in just a moment, but my share price returns were easily up above 200%. And then as far as the total returns now, with today's drop, I'm officially below 200%. I've still brought in about $120 in dividends, and that total return is still great. But anyway, guys, now moving on to payment number 8. This one is from one of my favorite companies. We're talking about SBUX, who paid me $47.62, or rather, I should say is paying me $47.62 here for the month, because they don't pay out their dividend until the 28th. So this is kind of an anticipatory thing, but nonetheless, I will be getting $47.62 from SBUX here in February. And as far as the share price goes, SBUX has been on fire lately. Here we can see that in the last 30 days, the stock has jumped almost 15%, which I do like to see. And over the last year, the stock is up 17.15%. And this has brought my position back from the dead, guys. I have 78 shares at an average cost of $86.82. So with the current share price at $112, this is going to leave me up about 29%, not including dividends, and including dividends, of which I've received about $373 since I've owned this position. That's going to bring my total return up a bit to 36.85%. But anyway, guys, with that final payment from SBUX, that's going to bring my total monthly income to $234.17, which is a pretty killer month. But this is actually a bit lower compared to this time last year. In February 2024, I brought in $241.32, so this is about a 3% decline year over year. And the reason for this is pretty simple, guys. Last year, I still owned positions like AT&T and Verizon, so those are both high-yielding stocks, which definitely gave my income a nice boost last year. So not having those this time around had a slightly negative impact on my overall monthly income, but still not a big deal. And now looking at the annual income so far in 2025, guys, I've brought in $496.61, which is a 14.36% increase compared to last year's year-to-date income. So for the first 2 months of 2024, I brought in $434.23. So year over year, we are still seeing some gain here. And even though the monthly total this year was lower compared to this time last year, if we look at the breakdown and recap of all of this month's dividend payments, we can see that there were quite a handful of these payments that saw some big year-over-year jumps. I mean, Main Street Capital Corporation was up about 50% year over year. Realty Income, about the same thing. EPD saw a 16% year over year increase. Williams-Sonoma up 26.7%. And I don't think I added any more to my position this year compared to last. And then SBUX saw a crazy year over year jump up 80%, a lot of which had to do with me buying more shares. But still, that's a pretty big year over year increase. But anyway, guys, that's what went down in February. And with that, now I want to switch gears and show you which companies are going to be paying me in this upcoming month here in March. And to do this, guys, we are back over here looking looking at the dividend calendar tool on GetQuinn, which there's a link to this in the description of the video and in the pinned comment. And it looks like we're going to be kicking off the month of March with a $14 payment from Visa, who's going to be paying out on March 3rd. Then the next day we'll have a really nice payment coming in from J&J, $49.66. Then it looks like we'll get one from Clear Secure on March 5th, almost $10 from these guys. We've got a nice one from Snap-on, about $19.20 for the month. And then Chevron's going to be paying a really nice dividend, $33.81 on March 10th. Looks like that one and Snap-on are both paying on the 10th, so that'll be a good day of dividends. And then a few days later, we've got a couple payments coming in from the monthly payers. We've got Realty Income paying $28.45. We've got Main Street Capital Corporation paying just over $14, so this will be another good day of dividends. And then it looks like we've got a special dividend coming in from Blue Owl Capital Corporation for about $5.80 in March. Definitely not going to complain about that. And then we've got the whopper for the month, guys, SCHD paying $71.46. I do believe, I could be wrong, but I do believe this is going to be my highest individual payment of all time. That'll be very exciting. And we have another one, guys, actually from Main Street Capital Corporation. This will be their special dividend for the month, $16.88. And then we're going to close out the month of March with a payment from VOO for $17.87. And based on this, guys, that's going to bring my total income for the month of March to $280.59. That will be so crazy. And I can't help but notice this right here as well. April, according to this, should be over $300, which is going to be very exciting. But anyway, March is clearly shaping up to be another great month of dividends. And with that, if you want to check out my full dividend stock portfolio, then check out this next video right over here. In this one, I'm taking you completely under the hood and showing you every single one of the holdings in both of my accounts, my taxable account and my Roth IRA. So click right over here if you want the full reveal, and I'll see you in the next one.